And now, News 4's Weather Extra with Chief Meteorologist David Paul.
Welcome into Weather Extra. Meteorologist Ryan Duggar along my side. There is so much work happening in Dothan. Roads are being torn up, things are being built, and the dirt is being piled up everywhere. And it's dry, isn't it?
Yes, it is very dry. I love that you mentioned how much road work there is. I've lived here for 2 years now, and since I got here, there has been construction on the circle, and it continues. But yeah, that dry air is really making the dirt just spread everywhere.
Absolutely. You have the circle and West Main Street as well from downtown. You know, you like to play in the dirt. I haven't seen you out there yet.
Yeah,
I've seen these big piles, and I imagine you climbing to the top and having fun. Not yet. But we could use some rainfall. It's been very dry for at least the last 2 weeks. And as we go into May, usually there's not much relief. Here's a look with meteorologist Zach Webster.
We've been stuck in a fairly dry pattern for much of the last several months, and unfortunately it doesn't really look like May is destined to really help us out all that much. May, the second driest month of the year normally for us here in Dothan, only behind October. We normally see just a little under 3 inches of rain in May, and when you're already in a dry period, that's the last thing that you need to see is we're coming up on one of the driest months of the year. There have been some wetter months over the last 10 years. There have been some wetter months of May. Last year was decently wet, close to 6.5 inches of rain last year. We saw almost 12 inches of rain in 2018, but there's a lot of drier Mays embedded in there as well. Around an inch of rain in 2019, the same in 2016, and in 2020 we only saw a little over 2 inches of rain.
You think about it, you want at least an inch per week as we go into the growing season. So you see those totals at 3 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch. That's not much of anything. And you know, this month, outside of that one good batch that we had a couple weeks ago, it's been dry and unfortunately looks to stay dry.
Yeah, and looking back on March when we were consistently seeing, you know, rounds of rain, maybe even some severe weather, that gets you the rain that you need,
exactly,
even though it's fast moving. But yeah, this April has just been really dry, and I'm hoping we get some relief soon. But yeah, into early May, looking not too good.
Not too good for us. But man, areas north, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, up towards Huntsville, they've had some pretty good rainfall, a nice soaking rainfall with no severe weather. But notice here at home, as we go through tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, ending at 10 p.m. Thursday, kind of a bullseye in our area, Ryan, where there's just not going to be much. I mean, the model here cranking up 0.02 inches. That's optimistic, I'd say.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how you mentioned that, a bullseye of drier air. It's really like almost the ridge is really starting in our area because it's the cutoff, and then it goes into Florida where you're just getting nothing.
Yeah, from here down to Florida, you're right, next to nothing. But the pattern around us will be fairly wet, not just locally in Alabama and parts of Mississippi, but big view over the Central Plains states. So this is taking it out now 10 days, all the way through the end of next week. You want rain? Go to Dallas, go to Oklahoma City, Houston, up there towards Omaha, Chicago, Memphis, Atlanta. But again, notice where we live, southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia, the Florida Panhandle. Just not much rain projected by the computer models here over the next 10 days. So I pulled this up today. This is interesting. Farmers, gardeners, take note, landscapers. This is a look using a satellite of the subsoil moisture, so going 1 meter deep into the ground. How much moisture is in the soil compared to normal? Where you see blue, there's a little more moisture than normal, but where you see the brown or the tan, which is where we live, the moisture is lacking. And as we zoom in, all of southeast Alabama, all of southwest Georgia, a good chunk of the Panhandle, just not seeing a lot of soil moisture, subsoil moisture at this point. So not the place you want to be heading into, again, the growing season.
Yeah, and one thing to notice about this map too, what's really interesting, into Pike and Barber County, if you look back at when we really saw our last severe weather, it was all located right here, which makes more sense, and we're just seeing more of that dry ground. So it's trying to hold on to that as much as it can.
April 7th, April 8th, that period up there, that window had a lot of rainfall up north. So we know we need it. You look at those numbers going back through last summer, it's been relatively dry, but again, not much hope anytime soon. But on the flip side, that means severe season has kind of taken a nap here across the south. We'll break down those numbers up next.
And now, News 4's Weather Extra.
Welcome back to Weather Extra. We've established the fact that it's been dry and it will stay dry, which means There's been no severe weather recently, and there will be no severe weather over the next at least week to maybe even 2 weeks or beyond. And that's some great news.
Yeah, I was going to say, for work the past couple of weeks, it's almost felt like a vacation, you know, because typically I've been used to, especially this time of year, it recharges once every like 7 days, especially for the overnight events and into the weekend. So I think everyone here is taking a sigh of relief. We're not having to track things over the weekend or overnight. That's great.
That is great. And you're getting more sleep at home as well, not being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning by thunderstorms. So if we look at the whole country and the average number of April tornadoes per state using 1999 to 2023 data, 16 in Alabama. That's where we typically are every single year. So where are we so far this month across the state of Alabama? 8 only across the entire state of Alabama in the month of April. So how does that compare to years in the past? And Ryan, we broke this down today. Really interesting to look back over the past decade. 8 this year, last year 10, 2023 6, but some years it really is active. Look at 2020, for example.
Yeah, I mean, 42 tornado reports right there. And I know I've been living in Alabama for really since the late part of 2015. And really, I try to go back and try to remember some of these events, but 2020 was definitely a big one, and especially with COVID going on, everyone was at home, so that's
I remember
a plus.
that, yeah. That was a very busy April. What really stands out, though, is the variability, and when you look at a month like April 2011, 101 tornado reports in April of 2011 in Alabama.
That was a big year.
That was, and a lot of those, of course, were on April 27th. All right, as we go through time, so this is why we're kind of confident in the severe threat not being here. Typically, if you look at what happens during the month of May, it's the plain states up into the Midwest that turn more active. So our average for the entire state of Alabama in the month of May is 5 tornadoes. In Georgia, it's 3. In Florida, it's 3. So if we can get through next week, and it looks like we will without any tornadoes, then it looks like maybe the worst of severe weather season is behind us.
I was going to say, let's have a calm start for summer. Let's do it.
That's right, yeah. And we focus on hurricane season. There's always something else. Yeah.